Welcome to Sunny Day Stamping. I'm Julie Baca. Sign up for my weekly email to get free project sheets and updates on sales. Today's project is a Slimline card. Have you made these? I just love them. I find them really easy to decorate because of the narrow orientation. I don't know, it was really fun. It fits in a regular business size envelope, but sometimes it's hard to find those that look nice. Sometimes it has like that security printing on the inside. So I'm going to show you a really quick and easy way to make one for yourself. Let's get started. I really love this project. It looks so impressive, but it really is just stamps, ink, and paper. Well, actually, this is popped up with Stampin' Dimensionals, but you don't even have to do that. I think these are some of my favorite projects because I love having a stamp set that can make things just look gorgeous with a minimal amount of supplies, and this is definitely one of them. It's a new set in the new catalog, Flowering Tulips, and I'll show you how to use all these pieces. I was pretty intimidated by it until I started playing with it, so I've got lots of tips on how to use that today. I also love this card. Just uses 3 colors of ink, 2 colors, and a black. So for your paper, this is all you need. You need a 7.5 by 8 3/4 piece of paper folded at 3 3/4, and then black cardstock 3.5 by 8.5, and white cardstock 3 3/8 by 8 3/8. And there's 2 of those so that you can do the inside also. Now, if you're going to do the do-it-yourself envelope, you need a big piece of paper for that. Well, not a big piece of paper, a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper to make the envelope. And at the end, I've got some other examples to show you some different color combinations. Now, don't worry about any of those measurements. They're over on my website, sunnydaystamping.com. There's a blog post that goes along with this video. If you'd prefer to have a print and make sheet that has all the measurements and the links to the instructions and the supplies all on one piece of paper, I email this out to my email subscribers on Fridays, so you can sign up for my email to receive this. So now it's time to just get your stamps out and play with them. You definitely don't have to use this stamp set. You can use what you have that you love. When I was playing around with this, I thought that it looked best when I had things coming off when I had stamped images coming off the side of the paper on these 3 sides, and all my stems, all of them, go all the way down. We don't want anything floating. So I just thought that was the most interesting. The other tip was don't crowd it. When I was put too many flowers, it just was, I don't know, less is more, I think. So, let me show you. So for this stamp set, I'm going to start with this big flower, and it's 3 pieces. So this is kind of like the outline. This goes on the inside, and this are the little stamen, I don't know about flowers, in the middle. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to use polished pink in our example. And I want them to be kind of at different heights, at different rotations this way also. Now for the inside, I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to show you what it looks like stamped directly on the tulip. It's a little bit darker, but you could also ink it up, stamp it off, and then, I didn't line that up very well, but you can see it gives more of a two-toned. This does line up right if you're directly over it. Let me try this again. Then you just take that little piece, I don't know what to call it, and that just goes right in the center and just makes those pop. Now grab the pieces to the next biggest flower. It's this outline with this filling in that little heart-shaped part there. So again, I'm going to put them at different heights, different rotation, and I guess I'll do 3. I'll put it up here. Now this little filler, I also liked this stamped off first to fill in. Man, I am missing the mark every time. I think it'll be okay, but you know what? If it bugs me, I'm just going to flip this over. And that is my other thing when I was messing with this earlier. Like, when I put too many flowers and needed to redo it. I just flipped over. Oh my, what happened? Oh, you know what happened? I had used this on a different stamp and I didn't wipe it off. All right, I'm gonna double check that I just wiped that off with my Simply Chamois there. Okay, let's try again. Oh, look what I did to my ink pad even. I'll have to wipe that off with I think I'll just stamp it off. Okay, back to business here. I didn't tell you what piece this was. This is the little tiny tulip bulb bud. Good night. All right, so let's just put a couple of these. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there and add my my stems. Actually, that's not true. I gotta fill this in. This little filler piece, I'm also gonna stamp that off. Oh my goodness, I did the same thing. I didn't wipe this one off either. I had a purple example I'm going to show you, and I did not wipe off my stamps. Okay. Let's fill these in, and then... Okay, so the reason why I want to put my stems on now is I just want to see how full this is, and then we can add more flowers. So for this stem, I wanted to give you a little tip. If you just kind of slap it down on your block, it'll be in that curve that it's in. You can bend it if you want, but I didn't really want it straight. So if you just slap it down on there, it's in the right curvature that it was designed for. Okay, so one of my tips is to don't just stamp this straight down. Put the tip at the base of your flower and then just rock this down. And then you can kind of direct it where you want to go. And now if you have here, let me show you here. Let me put the rest of these on. Oh, another thing is you can flip this upside down if you want it to go to the other direction, or if you just don't want them all looking the same. Now let me show you this. So if I were to stamp this down, it would go directly over my flower here, and I don't feel like making a mask for it. So we're going to use that same rocking motion, and you're just going to watch that ink lay down. Press it, but you're going to stop before you get to this flower. And here I'm going to show you. So that's where we just inked, and this is the rest of it. All right, so we already used the stem. Now we're going to grab these two leaves. And what I think is so cool about these is that you can use them either direction. So you really get like 4 different looking leaves. Okay. So I stamped it that way, and I'm going to turn it around and stamp it over here. And again, less is more. You can always add more. Now this leaf is a little more like solid, so it has a different look to it. I'm going to turn this around so you can see. Okay, do you see a problem that I did? I've got all of these on the right side of my stems. That really bugs me. So now we're gonna add some more on the other side. It's so hard to be random, I tell you. All right, let's see. I'm actually going to go directly over that stem there. That looks pretty. I actually don't even want all of them to have 2, but we need a little more here. Should we put another flower maybe? Yeah, let's go ahead and add one more flower. I don't want it to be the same height as that or that one. Let's see, or the same direction. So we're going to go like this. That isn't stamped straight either. Oh, well, that is one nice thing. This is a very like gracious giving stamp set. You don't have to stamp it exactly the right. Okay, I'm going to put one more leaf here, but then leave a leaf off of there. All right, so now we're going to stamp our sentiment. There are so many good ones in here. Look, this is one I didn't use in the examples, but it has a Happy Mother's Day, love you, thinking of you, and this birthday one. And so when I was cutting all my white paper for this, and I cut several pieces because I was playing around, I had this perfectly sized scrap. I love to use my scraps because I hate throwing paper away. I was going to just trim this off with my paper trimmer, and this part will be done. Now, if you don't feel like cutting that out, I think you could definitely like look at where your flowers are. If there's an empty spot, you know, you could just stamp right on there instead of putting it on here. So now this looks very similar, but I want to show you how to step it up a little bit. This is just stamps, ink, and paper, and that has dimensionals. But I'm going to show you if you just add one little piece of ribbon, and you don't even have to tie it, because I'll tell you what, this ribbon is hard to tie. So this is like totally optional, but just a way to like make it a little more fancy, but not more work really. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking to, one side of this ribbon is much more shiny, and I wanted the sparkly side. So, and I'm gonna try to figure out where do I want this, because I want my sentiment to go right over the top. So I think that's a good space. Okay, so then you just kind of hold it, fold this over, grab some Scotch tape, and just tape that puppy down. That's all you need to do. Then you're gonna come over on this side, make sure this is nice and straight. And then you're gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm just kind of putting pressure to keep that ribbon from shifting. Look, I don't even have to tie it like that. I love that. So then when we go to, we're going to glue this onto this base here. This is going to be perfectly straight and hide all that mess. Yeah, that's going to look good. So I'm double checking in case I needed to move that ribbon before I glue this down, because once I glue it down, I'm not going to be able to make changes, you know? Now before we add this sentiment, we're going to glue this onto our card base. So we'll go ahead and fold that down real good and then glue this on. You know, this stamp set was a little, like, I had to really play with it to figure out how to use it. If you have products like that where you're like, I don't know what to do with this, reach out to me, leave me a comment, because I really love to help help you get the most use of what you've purchased. So now we'll grab our Stampin' Dimensionals, and actually, you know what? Because I don't want to put the dimensionals directly on here, they're not going to stick. So I'm going to grab my mini ones of these. So these are little mini dimensionals. Now you could cut these big ones in half if you don't have these. So I'm just going to do this so that the ribbon will go right between there. Do you hear that noise downstairs? That's my son, he's playing a piano. There. All right, let's decorate the inside. So here's our ones in polished pink with the gorgeous envelope. This one is more simple, and this one just has a bit of ribbon. This one I used Gorgeous Grape for the ink and for the cardstock. They match perfectly. I mean, that's one of Stampin' Up's signatures. This is a stamp from that same stamp set, and I just cut it out with a circle die, or if you have a punch, that would work also. This is made with fresh freesia, ink and cardstock, and then I did the envelope in the fresh freesia, which actually, this is, I don't know, that just looks so awesome to me. And lastly, I wanted to combine two colors. I did Real Red and Crushed Curry, but then just kept the red tulips on the envelope. I hope you give this a try. I would love to hear what you make with Slimline cards and envelopes. This video ended up being a little bit long, so I broke it up into two parts. So if you want to learn how to make this quick and easy envelope to go with your card, click right up here.